Last week, Mariposa in Second Life, or Jennifer, my wife, talked about setting aside time to get alone with God. She reminded us that God is never too busy. Rather, it is we who don't set aside the time to be with Him. And if you missed that, I encourage you to, after this service, of course, go to almcyberchurch.org and click the service audio archives link and listen to the service that stated 5/15/2016 called God's Never Too Busy. Now, today, I'd like to pick up from where she left off, and I'd like for us to discuss the fact that we are indeed never alone. Now in Deuteronomy 31 and verse 6, we read these words of reassurance. Be strong and of good courage. Do not fear nor be afraid of them. For the Lord your God, He is the one who goes with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you. Now, most of us know this verse pretty well. Personally, when I was looking up the scriptures for the message today, I was expecting to find a verse in which Jesus said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. I will be with you to the very end. Now, maybe I didn't search well enough, but all I found were verses in the Old Testament, later quoted by New Testament writers. But the sentiment is consistent throughout Scripture. And in Matthew 28:20, Jesus says this, teach them to observe all things that I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. I am with you always. What exactly does that mean? Was he talking about a concept? In theory, I am always with you. Or in your mind and in your heart, I am always with you. Or this physical body I'm wearing, this temporary form that people will hang on their walls and erect statues of, to which they will pray, that will be with you until the end of time. Or perhaps, could Jesus have simply been acting as the earthly mouthpiece for the timeless promise, essence, and nature of God? He will never leave you nor forsake you, even to the very end of time. You know, when we are busy, when we are distracted, when we are like Martha, busy with so many things, when we are lost in our mental noise and our chatter about details, our labels, and definitions, and stories, we just might find that He does not really seem to be with us, not in a tangible sense, at least not literally, but only in our heads or in a concept or in a belief. We try to muster up a stronger belief that He is with us right here and right now, but in the stillness, in the inner quiet, when we let go of all the noise, we just might hear that still, small voice. And just as faith is not a belief and is not something that we can create if we only believe strongly enough, so the faith that He is with you everywhere and always is not just an idea in the head or a strong belief that might grow or wane with time. Instead, it is as sure and solid to you as the computer display that you're viewing right now, or the sounds that are coming out of your speakers as you listen to my voice. It is as solid as the chair on which you're sitting. It is as real to you as the floor that's beneath your feet. Or maybe even more real, more sure. For when all these other forms, all these forms fade away, as they certainly all will do, His presence will remain. And while you can know this or believe this in the head, directly experience it is altogether different. That is what faith really is. And what they call blind faith is actually an oxymoron. There's plenty of blind belief, but true faith is a direct experience that is neither interested in nor touched by the mind's best doubts. In 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 11 through 12, we read this. Then God said, "Go out and stand on the mountain before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind tore into the mountains and broke the rocks in pieces before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still, small voice." When you're at work, you're incredibly busy. You're dealing with coworkers or phone calls or customers face to face. Or you're having an interaction with someone in a relationship or in some kind of dealing. His presence is no different and no less weak than when you're in your prayer closet at home or in a worship service at church or at a tent revival or at a retreat in the mountains. He is equally there in all those places all the time. He may not be in the wind, in the earthquake, or in the fire. But underneath all those things is the still, small voice. And there he is. The wind just attracts our attention. The earthquake draws our awareness. The fire consumes our focus, and we get lost in those things that come and then go like vapors that quickly vanish. While all the while, he is there, behind it all, in the stillness, in the quiet. The quiet still that does not require there be no earthly movement and no earthly noise. Now sure, removing yourself from the noise can help you become aware of the silence, the still small voice, and that is a great place to start. But he is with you always, everywhere, in the quiet and in the noise, in the stillness and in the movement of form. That life, that presence, that power, that love, it sees the thoughts of your mind. It is with you as you walk and as you lie down. It is behind you, before you, above you, beneath you, all around you, and completely filling every single cell of your body and the spaces in between every atom. Psalm 139, verses 1 through 18. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know my sitting down and my rising up. You understand my thought afar off. You comprehend my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word on my tongue, but behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. You have hedged me behind and before, and laid your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high, I cannot attain it. Where can I go from your spirit, or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend into heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall fall on me, even the night shall be light around me. Behold, the darkness shall not hide from you, but the night shines as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to you. For you formed my inward parts, you covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret and skillfully wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Your eyes saw my substance, being yet unformed, and in your book they were all written, the days fashioned for me, when as yet there were none of them. How precious also are your thoughts to me, O God! How great is the sum of them! If I should count them, they would be more in number than the sand. When I awake, I am still with you. Where can you go from his spirit? Where can you flee from his presence? In the heavens, or the depths of the earth and the sea? In the bright light of the noonday sun, or the deep dark of a starless night? In the prime of life, in the last days of old age, or the first moments of life in the womb? When you awaken, he is still with you. Still with you, because he was with you even while you were fast asleep. So while your mind is churning numbers or lists or names and dates, step back and see it for what it is: a movement of form, a wind, an earthquake, a fire. It comes and it goes. It has a tiny bit of importance, relatively speaking, but ultimately it matters very little. It is but a blip in time. And while your story plays out, as you're doing this and going there, step back and observe that all these things are just winds, just earthquakes, just fires. They're here for a brief moment, for a mere instant, and then they all vanish away. And underneath there is stillness. Underneath there is quiet. And underneath there is the still small voice where he is everywhere, all the time, regardless of where you are or what you're doing or what is going on around you. All those things are just minor details. They all come and they all go and they all change with time. But underneath there is the solid rock, the firm foundation. There is stillness, quietness, and vast, unending peace. If you step out of the noise in the head and bring your attention into the temple of God, your body, you can feel the life there. You can feel the very breath of God, which is that life. And it is moving, yet still. It is singing, yet silent. And it is one with that still, small voice. So my invitation to you today is this: dwell with him. Rest with him. Let go of the wind, the earthquake, and the fire. And beyond all of those temporary things, make your home, your dwelling place, your place from where you view all things in the still, silent, eternal which is always here and is always now, no other place or time. And you will not have to believe that He is always with you and that you are never alone. Instead, you will know it firsthand with true faith, more solid and more sure than your faith that the floor will hold you up or the air will flow into your lungs when you inhale. So rest now in His eternal presence, for you truly are never alone.